Welcome to the dynamic learning hub of ExcelR at Andheri East. A prime spot conveniently located at just a 5-minute walk from LIC Andheri Metro. In our journey of over a decade, we have proudly trained over 2 lakh students. We have also been recognized by Deloitte, Silicon India, and other accreditation bodies. Experience learning like never before in our spacious and comfortable classrooms. With high-definition projectors and state-of-the-art acoustics in place, we ensure effective learning even to the farthest point in the room. The hybrid mode is a game changer as you can enjoy the benefits of a light classroom from the comfort of your home. Even if you happen to miss any classroom session, you can still attend the same session with the same trainer at the same time at your convenience, maintaining consistency in your learning progress. Want to get started? Join us for a demo or career chat over a cup of coffee at our Andheri branch. ExcelR. We don't just train, we build careers.
Yes, so the collaboration with ExcelR was an excellent one. We conducted a Power BI workshop with Advanced Excel over a span of 3 days. The workshop was almost 12 hours long in total. Mr. Karthik, who was an amazing trainer, helped the students understand the concepts deeply. I am sure that the students will be able to apply these concepts in their careers as well as their daily lives.
The trainer, Mr. Karthik, was an excellent person where he explained in very detailed manner on how to give great insights using very complex data sets.
So it was a machine learning workshop. We learned a lot from the course and it was a great experience attending the workshop.
The trainer was very helpful. He had a hands-on approach with his teaching and it was fabulous.
This was a great experience for me So I would absolutely love it if ExcelR and its team would come again to our campus and conduct more events like this.
It was a great course, and it started from basics and took me to a great extent.
The experience of the workshop was really nice. The feedback from all the students was positive. They understood the concept. The workshop was also practical based with some questions. The experience with ExcelR was very smooth. They helped us in conducting the workshop smoothly, right from the booking of the vendor and deciding the course till the distribution of certificates. In overall, this workshop was a success during our Technical Fest Atmos, and I thank ExcelR for being a part of it.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So let's start. In our previous session, we have started off with our Jupyter notebook and Python, right? So we will continue with the introduction of Python today as well. Let me share my screen. Just a moment. You're able to see my screen, right, everyone? All right. So we have understood about data types in Python, sequence data types, how to index the sequence data types. All these things we have understood in our last class, like operators, comparison operators, arithmetic operators, all these things we have understood, right? Now, we are going to look at conditions in Python, then loops, okay, conditions, Python, loops, and then functions. So these are the major part of our Python programming. So let's look at them. So what are conditions? So in any programming language, not only in just Python, when you want to execute some block of code based on a condition, that means if a condition is true, you want to execute the block of code, otherwise you don't want to execute it, right? Such kind of decisions, okay, such kind of decisions to be made can be, or you can make such kind of decision using conditional statements in programming language. So decision to be made is nothing but whether the program has to be a block of part of program to be executed or not. A block of code to be executed or not, the decision has to be taken based on a given condition. So let's say you have a list of values, or let's say a is equal to 10. So a is equal to 10, you want to see whether it is a positive number or a negative number, right? So you will come to another cell. A is coming to you from different program, let's say. Here I am declaring it, but A is given to you as an input by some other source. You want to see whether that given input is positive number or negative number. So how do you check whether a number is positive or negative? You can compare it with 0. If number is greater than 0, it's a positive number. If a number is less than 0, it's a negative number. So you want to check if it's positive or negative, right? So I will write if A greater than 0. In, in Python, if you want to write the condition, we will start with if and then give the expression. Expression in the sense, what is that you want to check? The test expression is what we have to give. The test expression here is, we want to check if the given number is positive or not. That means if it is greater than 0, that means A is compared with 0. We have seen the comparison operators, right? So if A is really greater than 0, this test expression results in true, because always greater than or less than symbols will give you true or false as the output. So if this condition is true, then put a colon and come down, click on enter. So the cursor will be placed little far away from the starting point. This is called as indentation. So whatever you want to write under the if block, you have to write with the space. So print given number is positive. So whatever you are writing under the if block, this is called as if, and the line of block or code that you are writing under if. So you can write 1 line or 20 lines also. It doesn't matter. But whatever you are writing with this space comes under if block here, right? So after colon, if you just come down and leave some space and start writing code, this is called as tab space. And this is called as indentation. So indentation here in Python is to specify that whatever you write with this space mark comes under the if condition or for loop, whatever the upper statement is there, the statement without the space is the supreme statement here. In that you have the subset with the spaces given. The indentation is given means this code belongs to this superclass or the code that is written above without indentation. So whatever you write with space will be coming under if only. So I say print this statement is under if condition. If I take out this space, okay, if I come out of this space and write print, this statement is out of if. So what will happen is, this print will be executed, that is inside the if, these two print statements will be executed only if A is greater than 0. That means if this statement or the test expression is true, then only the block inside the if will be executed. The other one that I have written, this will be executed even if this statement is true or false. That's not a book. That's not going to be important for the line that we have written with without indentation. Without indentation, it's going to be naturally executed. After if is executed, this is the next line it is going to execute without checking any conditions. So if you see now, A is equal to 10. Okay. Now, it will, now if I execute A greater than 10, yes, it is greater than 10 only. 10 is greater than 0, sorry. A greater than 0. Yes, 10 is greater than 0. So it is going to print given number is positive, and it will also print this statement is under condition is, and this statement is under if condition. And then after executing all this, it will also say this is out of if. So you can see the output. All the three statements will be printed. Given number is positive, this statement is under if condition, and the last one, this statement is out of if. All of them have been executed. But what if A is minus 10? Now what will happen? If condition becomes false, because minus 10 is not greater than 0. So when if condition is false, it will not compile the code inside the if condition. It will skip these lines of codes and come to the other line of code to be executed. So now what will happen? Only the outside if print will be executed. Clear everyone? That is what if condition is. If condition is going to check if a given test expression is true or false. If it is true, it will execute the code inside the if condition. Otherwise, it will not. Okay. So now this can be extended. You have written if A is greater than 0, you are saying print number is positive. Okay. But you also want to see if it is negative also, or if it is not possible, it can be negative also, right? In that case, if the condition is false, if you want to execute some other lines of code, then you can write else. Else means if this is not true, if the given condition is not true, then else block comes here and it will be executed. You can say print num is either negative or it could be 0 also, no? If it is 0 also, it will not say it is positive. 0 is neither positive nor negative. So when A is greater than 0, you are saying number is positive. But if it is not greater than 0, you are saying else and printing number is either negative or 0. In this case, it will check the given condition, and if the number is not positive, it will say neither negative or not 0. If you want to be exactly looking at whether it is equal to 0 or not, you can add multiple ifs also. So if A is equal to or A greater than 0, you are saying print positive. Right? Now you can say elif. Elif means else if. You are checking another condition. When you want to check multiple conditions, you can write elif. Print negative if it is less than 0. If it is not 0, if it is not greater than 0, if it is not less than 0, the remaining possibility is 0 only. So print num is equal to 0. So like this, you can check both the conditions. One, you are checking greater than. If it is greater than, you are saying positive. If it is less than, you are saying negative. Else, we are saying it is equal to 0. Like this, you can do the different conditions. So it is negative, right? If I change a value, it can change the thing. So where do you use this kind of conditions? Let's say you want to find out whether a given number is even number, odd number, right? All these can be checked using conditions, prime numbers, right? Whatever the uh, condition that is given, if it is true and you want to perform a particular block of code, if the condition is true, you can use if else. You can use if inside one other if. It is called as nested if. So you can practice lot of combinations using this if else conditions. Okay, that's about your conditional statements. Then we have loops. In loops, we have for loop and while loop. So what are loops? Loop is nothing but something we do repetitively is called as loop, right? So in Python also we have for loop, we have while loop. So for loop is used on the sequential data type like list or tuple or strings. So we can use them, right? Uh, so let's say for I in, we have a string. Let's say string is Python only. For I in Python. So now everything is given to you in the lower case, right? You want to print this I'm sorry, friends, I lost you in between, I guess. Yeah, I was explaining about for loop. Okay, for loop are used if you want to repeat over a sequence like list or strings, or it could be tuples. If you want to iterate over the sequences, we use for loop. So loop is actually used for repeating something. A block of code has to be repeatedly applied onto something. Then you can use loops. So for loop is used for the sequence data types or iterables basically, like strings. So here I've taken for I in Python, print I into 5. If you look at the output of this one, you can see it will be printing P 5 times, Y 5 times, T 5 times, H, O, N. So what is it I'm doing here? If you take any string data and multiply it with a numerical value, it is going to repeat the given string data so many times, like P. I value will be equal to P for the first time. So P is multiplied by 5 means it is going to repeat P 5 times. Next time I value will be taking Y. So Y into 5, T into 5, like that. You can see it is repeating each character 5 times because I have written it in a for loop for I in Python. So each value of Python will be taken and we are applying certain block of code like this. You can apply anything if you want. If you want something like I, you can do string concatenation also. You can take I and you can just put star also like this. And this P star, Y star, T star, it will be giving you P plus star. I will be P for the first time, plus you're adding star. So this is called a string concatenation. You can use plus symbol to add two strings also like this. Clear? So you can use the for loop on the lists also. What are list? List is a data type in Python which can hold multiple values. So basically, you can create a list of values. To create a list of values, you can just use a square bracket. You can write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 like this. So out of this, you want to print only even numbers. So how do you print only even numbers? So here you have to use for loop and condition, both of them together. For I in A, that means A is a list that you have. So for I in A means I will take each value in the A at a time. And what is that you want to check if it is even number or not? So you'll write a condition. If I is divisible by 2, so how do you check whether it is even or not? If you divide it by 2, you should have the remainder as 0. So I'm using remainder division. If you remember, we had learned about remainder division. If you use this symbol, it will give you the remainder of the division, right? So here I'm writing for I in A, if I divisible by 2, that means if the remainder or if the remainder of the number, you are dividing it by 2, and if the remainder is equal to 0, this is comparison operator. So we have seen here also. What is comparison operators? Less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than, equal to, not equal to. If you want to check two numbers equal or not, you can use double equal to. And again a colon here because this is colon, and inside this for loop we have the if, and inside this if you will write print I. That means you are only printing the even numbers, right? So it is going to print only the even numbers. See 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So it will take I value as 1 for the first time. 1 divisible by 2 and remainder is equal to 0. No, it is not. So it's not going to execute print I. Second time I value will be equal to 2. Now 2 in A, that is I value will be 2. 2 divisible by 2 and remainder 0. Yes, 2 ones are 2, remainder is 0. So it is going to execute the line after that. So print I. So it has printed. So then 3 is not divisible by 2. So print is not executed like this. you can come up with several kinds of loops and conditions. You can check for prime numbers. You can check if a given data is palindrome or not. You can do a lot of things. Okay. So this is your for loop and this is your conditions. I have clubbed both of them together. Right. So let me explain while loop. This is going to be an interesting one. Okay. While loop is going to repeat a given block of code until a condition is true. That means you are combining loops plus conditions. You want to repeat some condition, repeat some loop over a condition. Let's say, there is count is equal to 0. Okay. There is a variable called as count is equal to 0. While count less than or equal to 5. That means if count is less than or equal to 5, I want to print a star into count. Okay. Let's say 1 into count, star into count. So while is a loop over here. What it is checking? It is checking a condition. Count is less than or equal to 5. So while this condition is true, I want to execute this print. How many times it is going to execute? Until this condition is true. While count is less than or equal to 5, until that condition is true, whatever you write under this while loop is going to execute repeatedly. So count value I have given is 1. So it will check 1 is less than or equal to 5. Yes, it is less than or equal to 5. It will print star into count. That is star 1 time is printed. Again, it will go back. Count is still 1 only. So 1 is less than 5. So if you leave it like this, it will go into infinity loop because count value we have decided is 1. So what should we do? After printing, we should change the count value. So count value should be increased because one chance is done. So count will be count plus 1. So now it will be 1 plus 1. Earlier it is 1. Count value will become 2. Now it will check 2 less than 5. Yes. So it will print star 2 times. Count is 2 now. Again it will increase the count value to 3. 3 less than or equal to 5. Yes. So it will print star 3 times. It will change 3 to 4. 4 less than or 5. So it will print star 4 times. Then again it will come to the third line, increase the value to 5. 5 less than or 5, yes, it will print the count 5 times. Now count will become 6. 5 plus 1, 6. Now it will go back and check the condition. Is 6 less than or equal to 5? No. It becomes false. The condition has become false, so it will break the loop. So like this, over a condition, if you want to repeat anything, you can see it can be done using while loop. So first time count value is 1, no? So count into star. 1 time star is printed. Second time count value becomes 2. 2 into star. 3 into star. 4, 5. After 5, count will become 5 plus 1, 6. You can see count value is 6 now. But count value is 6 means less than or equal to 5 becomes false. 6 is not less than or equal to 5. So it will break the loop and give you the output. That's it. So this is called as your while loop. So while loop is executed until you break it purposefully with some condition or until you use break. There is something called as break. There are loop control statements also. I'll explain you those also. You can use loop control statements like break and continue as well if you want to break the loops. So how does loop control statements works is, so for loop I'll show you. For I in A, what is A? Here it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So the same A we will use. For I in A, print I. So what will be printed? All the numbers in the A will be printed like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want to print all the numbers but except one number. What is except one number? I want to print all the numbers except 7. I don't want 7. So what I'll do, if I is equal to 7, that means when I is equal to 7, I don't want to print, right? So what I can do, if I is equal to 7, I will say continue. This is one of the loop control statement. If I say continue, it will not execute the further program, skip the I value to the next value, which is after 7, what is there? 8. So it will skip the 7 value and print all other numbers. See, is 7 there? No, right? Because what will happen when I in 8 will take the first value, which is 1. 1 is not equal to 7, so it will print I. Like that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Until 6 it prints. When I is equal to 7, we are saying continue. Now, continue means skip. Basically, continue means skip this and go to the next iteration. In the next iteration, I value will be 8, 9, 10. All of them will be executed except I is equal to 7 is not executed. So you are controlling the loop to skip something. That's the reason it is called as loop control statement. Clear? Okay, fine. So this is one of the loop control statement. There is another loop control statement called as break. So what is this break? The same thing. Okay. Let's say I'm going to use the same thing, but when I is equal to 7, instead of continue, I would say break. So what will happen? If you see after 6, when I is equal to 7, nothing has happened. That means at 7, the loop is broken. It will not continue further. In the continue, only that particular iteration is skipped. Only when I is equal to 7, it will not print I. But here, after printing 6, when I value is becoming 7, we are saying break. After break is executed, nothing after the break, not even anything. It will not print anything. If I write anything out of this also, out of the loop, if you see, what will happen? Will come out and say out of the loop. So it is breaking the entire loop and coming out of the loop and printing it out of the loop, right? So if you say break, the loop will be terminated. That's the difference between break and continue. So where we can make use of this, I'll show you a small game or something like that. So count is equal to, again I say 1, while or you can may not take, you ask the user the input. Okay, you will ask the user to give the input. Let's say we are playing a number game. Okay, num is equal to, if you want to ask the user from the input, we will use a function called as int input, enter your number. Okay. So enter your number. Just a moment, friends. I'll write this inside the loop. While true, okay, true. That means I'm not taking any condition, directly I'm writing it as true. While true, it will ask num int enter your number. That means we are asking the user to enter their number. And once they enter the number, so usually this input will take the whatever the data that you give inside the user command is converted into string. So to make it back to the integer, I'm taking int over here and storing it in num. You want to check if this number is even number or odd number. So I'll write if num divided by 2, if it is equal to 0, you can write print the number you entered is even, right? And then else print the number you entered is odd. Now I've written this inside the while loop. So this will be continuing, right? So you should ask your user after printing, you should ask again user, do you want to continue? Print, do you want to continue? If yes, type Y or type N to quit. Okay. So we are asking user, do you want to continue? If yes, type Y or type N to quit. So if user says yes, we have to continue. Otherwise, we have to quit it, right? So if, so here we have to ask the input again. So what is the input? Let's say X is equal to input, just input, don't write anything. We have written prompt over there anyways. So whatever they give gets stored in here, Y or N, it gets stored here. So if X is equal to N should be in the lower case. If they enter the uppercase also, we should convert it into lower case. So what we can say, if X dot lower, convert it into lower case. If X dot lower is equal to N, then we should break the loop, no? Then I should write break. So when they want to quit, they will write N. So when I'm taking that input into the X, if that is equal to N, I'm breaking it. Otherwise, it will continue until they break it, if you see. If they type in also, it is not equal to N, so it will go to the true and execute again. So here I'm using while loop, condition, and loop control statements, all of them together. So if you see now, it will ask you the number, enter your number. I'll say 26. So what it does, the number you entered is even. Do you want to continue? If I say Y, it will give me another option, enter your number, 67. It will say the number you entered is odd. Do you want to continue? If yes, type Y or yes. So I'll again say yes, 56. So it says your number is 56. What happened? Okay, this is enter your number. 56 is not equal to no. So again, it is asking to enter the number 56. So you can see it says 50, the number you entered is even. Do you want to continue? If yes, type Y or type N to quit, right? So I will say no. Now it will quit. It is not asking, see. When I say N, it is stopped. So you can write here after N, you can print thanks for playing also. If you want to drop in some message, thanks for playing. And then you can do the break. That means it will stop the loop. Otherwise, it will continue until we are doing it. So you can see, enter input number 44. So I'll say the number you want entered is even. Do you want to continue? I say no. Thanks for playing. So it has terminated the loop. So this is how we can make use of our while loop. I'm using if else condition inside it. I'm also using so many functions, if you see, right? So this is the basics of Python together to write a program. So whatever we are learning individually, they will be applicable to you when you are writing a script or to solve any problem, to build games or such kind of things. You can use this while loops. Clear? Just give me a moment. All right, now we are going to look at the functions, the definitions. Okay, how can you define your own functions? Right, till now, whatever we have seen, print, input, all these are inbuilt functions in Python. Okay, you can also define your own functions in Python. Those are called as user-defined functions. So why do we use user-defined functions? To avoid repetition of the code in your scripts, we will write user-defined functions. You can start defining your functions using def, that's a keyword in Python, and you have to give the function name. The function name could be anything like my function. So after writing your function name, you have to put the parenthesis and then colon. Whatever you want to write inside the function, or what is that you're creating the function for, what task it has to do has to be defined under definition. So def, after if you come down, you can see as usual you will have the, what is this called as indentation. So you will have the indented block, expected indented block should be there. So you can write the block of code to be performed when you give my function. My function can take the inputs. You want to give the input, you can give an input. Let's say you want to give a number as the input and you want to get the multiples of that number. Let's say you want to get the multiples of number up to 20. Like if I give 2, 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, it has to give you the multiples of number. So let's say 2 is given. So what you will do for I in, you want to take it from 1 to 20, the multiples of 1 to 20. Then you will write I in range. So you can define the range of numbers like 1 till 20 means you have to take till 21. Okay, for loop. So each value you have to multiply it with number. Print I into number. That's it. So this is going to print the values. Okay. And this. Now we have defined it. It will not, once I run this, you're not seeing any kind of output here because this is a definition of the function. Once a number is given to this function called as myfunc, what it has to do is define. So it's like a blueprint. What should be done is defined. But when it is going to be run and executed is, now you have to call the function. Defining is one step, calling is other steps. So when you say my underscore func, and now you are calling this function with a number in it. So I say 4. So now I will have multiples of 4. 4 ones, 4 twos, 4 threes, 4 fours, like this until 4 into 20. Because I've taken range here 1 to 21 means 1 to 20 values will be taken into consideration. 21, whenever you are using range function, the last value will not be included. So like this, I've defined my own function. So this function, I can call in n number of times with different numbers. Now it will give you the multiples of 2 until 20. I can get it for 40 or 42 or 43. So basically, I have defined a function to get the multiples. Clear? So like this is a very simple code. You can use defining the functions to get your own custom task performed without writing the code multiple times in a given script. That's the use of your functions. If you want to reverse the string, whatever this reverse string that I have given, I have a string called as, let's say, s is equal to, again, I'll write, I love Python. I love Python. So if this is a string, okay, I want to reverse this string. There is no function called as, let's say, s dot reverse if I say, or reverse of s. So it will say there is no function called as reverse. But I want to create my own function to reverse this string. The name should be reverse. If I give s, it should be giving me the reversed string. So I can define my own function for that. So how I do it? So you just want to have the same name, right? So I will do it like this. Define reverse, which will take a string. And now you write the code to reverse the string. How do you reverse the string? Whatever the string or list, if you want to reverse, a small technique. You take the string, open the square bracket, put 2 colons -1. This is going to give you the reverse string. So now I have defined this, right? I have defined this. So now S could be any string, okay? S is not the same string that we have taken. S could be any string. I run this again, okay? Now, now I'll call in reverse and I put I love Python. So I run the same thing. Can you see it has given you the reverse string? Earlier it was showing that reverse was not defined. So I have defined my own function to get the reverse of the string. So if I say reverse of S, it is giving me the reverse string. So whatever the string that you write, it will give you the exact reversed way. If I write my name, it will give my reverse name. Right? That's the beauty of defining your own functions. You can write a function for any kind of task that you think you have to use it multiple times. Then you can write it using defining your own strings. And in Python, there is another type of functions called as anonymous functions also. And whenever we are defining the functions, you see I'm using print here also. I'm using print here also, and the output is always printed. But if you want to store the output in some kind of variable, use return. Okay. So there is a keyword called as return. You can also use return. So what is the difference between print and return is print will print the output on the console like this, but return will store the output in a particular variable. So now reverse, I can store it in some kind of variable. Let's say y is equal to. Then my reversed name will be stored in y. So then you can access it, you can print it, whatever you want to do, you can do it. So you can see the same output is there. Okay, return and then see y is there, 1 here. So if you want to print the same thing 10 times also, just multiply it by 10 here. So you can see it has repeated my name in a reverse way 10 times it has printed. Right? So that is the kind of beauty. If you return and store it in a variable, if you store the output in a variable, that if you want to do something else with that output also, you can continue. Making sense? You can put your yes, no, maybe in the chat window, or you can just give me thumbs up if it's clear or not. This is all basics of Python. So in tomorrow's class, I would explain you one of the AI program which can detect, right, images, what is there in the images kind of program. I will show you that program in tomorrow's and day after tomorrow. These 2 classes. Our next 2 classes is about creating a model which can identify the images and what is there in that images. The one that I have shown you on the first day of the example, which was able to identify cup as cup, orange as orange. So we are going to build a simple program like that to identify the images. All right. So next, I can show you another important feature of Python, which is called as lambda functions. These are also called as anonymous functions. So what are these anonymous functions is? So these lambda functions will start with lambda, keyword called as lambda, and it will take an input x. And what you should do with this x can be written after a colon. So that means if you want to add x plus 2, okay. If I give x and you want to get the output as x plus 2, you can write it like this. Lambda x plus 2. So let's say you have a list of values again. A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values are there. On this A, you want to apply this function wherein each value of A should be taken, and then you have to add 2 to it, and you have to get the output. So usually when you say A plus 2, A plus 2, you can see it will not directly take 1 plus 2, 2 plus 2. It is going to throw you some error, type error, only concatenate list, not into the list, right? So in this kind of cases, you can write for loop. For I in A, you can use I plus 2 also. But you can make use of your lambda functions as well. So lambda functions are called as anonymous. You can write in there itself and use it there itself. You need not define and call separately. You will define them and you can call in them. Okay. So let's define our lambda functions. So that means you can define and use it at the same time. Is clear? Lambda functions in Python are called as anonymous functions, implying that there is no name given to them. And the keyword that we are going to use is lambda. So lambda, we write the argument and the expression. LAMBDA. So you have to write the argument is nothing but input. And what you have to do with argument is the output or expression. Like this. Example. Here if you want to apply this, I can write it to or apply it to some value called as something like this, x comma y, or you can write it as a is equal to x. A is already a list, no? I want to apply it onto the list called as A. 1 second, friends. This got stuck. Just give me 1 minute. Why it's not working? Okay. I think it's working now. Let me see. Yeah. We have just created a lambda function. So how do you apply this lambda function to the list? That means if you apply lambda function to the list, 1 will be getting added to 2. 1 plus 2, it will become 3. 2 plus 2, 4, like this. Each element of the list will be adding with the 2. Or you can do anything, x square or x, each value, whatever you want to do, you can write it here. The argument can be anything and the argument expression could be anything. But now if you want to apply this lambda function to A, I can simply write new list is equal to, okay, new list is equal to list and map. You have to use these two functions, list, map, and lambda. If you see, I'm defining the function here itself, and I'm using the function also here itself. So the output list, print new list. So the original list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to add each element of the list with 2, and I'm storing that under new list. So how do you create new list? You have created the lambda function here. If x is given, x plus 2 will be returned, and that we are mapping to our list called as A. Okay, so we have to map our list called as A. So where do you write that? Here, comma A. We are applying it onto the list A, right? So now if you print the new list, you can see 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That means here each value of A is taken and it will be added with the 2 and stored in new list. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is called as lambda function. Usually if you want to write the same thing using our regular functions, you have to write it like this. Define, add underscore 2 is the name of the function. If you give a list, it should form a new list, right? So new list will be taking A of I, each value of A, and 2. Add with 2. So you can write it like that also. But defining, and then you have to call it. Instead of doing that, you are defining and calling it here itself. That means you need not take a new name for it. It is anonymous function. Clear? This is called as your lambda function. Sorry, Shruti, I think we don't have any recorded sessions of this. So if you want to apply it to a function called as B also, but here it is not that you can use the same lambda function. You again have to write map lambda, it's equal to x plus 2 and B. So these are used. So what is the advantage of lambda functions than our regular functions? So advantage of this, sir, you don't want to use them multiple times, but instead of using loops and again defining the function that you might want to use only one time, you don't want to define it and call it and store it somewhere. Instead of that, quickly you can write the function there itself, use it there itself. That's it. After using, it will not be no longer available also. So it will be more faster also. Clear? So any questions, you can put it in the chat window. Yeah, we have classes tomorrow and day after also. This is 5-day session, right? So we have completed 3 days. So first day was just introduction to the artificial intelligence and deep learning, machine learning kind of stuff. Second day and today, that was on Friday, and today we have discussed about introduction to the Python. Tomorrow I'll introduce you to the artificial intelligence algorithm using Python. Day after tomorrow, and tomorrow will be just going through some of the programs in AI. So that's the plan for next 2 days. Same time, 5 to 6, Durga Bhavani. Okay, any other questions? All right. If you guys have no questions, we can stop it here. Recap all the concepts for one time. It will not be possible, Shruti, because this is just a kind of 5-day workshop. So we have tight schedules and we will not be able to dedicate time to the recap of the concepts again. So yeah, if you want to go through the detailed uh, sessions, you can always get in touch with our counseling department. They will help you how to get the access to the detailed courses and all. We do a very detailed courses on Python. We have in artificial intelligence, right? You can opt for those things where you will have the recordings, where you will have the entire detailed curriculum will be there. This is just a 5-day workshop to create awareness on what is artificial intelligence and what is Python, how it can help you. Okay.
Okay, Bhanupriya ma'am, we'll wind up the session if you're done means.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm just checking
Yeah.
if they have any questions. All right, bye.
Yeah. Thank you, students, for joining the session. And Shruti asking about that recording sessions, right? Shruti
Yes.
will get the recording sessions on YouTube. Okay, so you can visit our YouTube channel. So there you
Okay.
can get all the classes. Okay, thank you. We'll wind up the session. We'll meet on tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye bye.